I'm Adrian Carbajal. Here are your headlines from Central Texas. Beef prices are at record highs this year, fueled by the smallest U.S. cattle herd in 75 years and inflation that continues to impact farmers, ranchers, and consumers alike. Juliana Jackson spoke with a rancher and a local restaurant owner about who's really absorbing that cost.
For Robert Fleming, this land isn't just a business, it's a legacy. 5 generations of his family have farmed and ranched right here in Central Texas. But Fleming says inflation is making it harder than ever to keep the operation running.
The land cost and the generational changes, the cost of replacement cattle are high.
With replacement cattle and land costs climbing, budgeting has become nearly impossible.
It's a variable cost that we cannot budget for that affects us dearly.
Fleming is pushing back on what he says is a common misconception from consumers.
The American consumer thinks the ranchers are getting rich and everything, and that's not the case.
The impact of inflation doesn't stop at the ranch gate. It follows that beef all the way to the plate.
You know, people are coming here, they want the steak, they want the beef.
Owner of Clem McKeska's Barbecue, Anna McKeska, says she's had to reinvent the menu.
Restaurant business runs on pretty tight margins sometimes on certain items, so it has, it definitely has affected our bottom line.
The Texas Farm Bureau says it will take years for the nation's cattle herd to rebuild, and until it does, beef prices aren't expected to budge. Fleming says there's one thing he wants every consumer to understand.
No one is going hungry because of the price of beef. Not an easy task, and that's why so few do it.
Juliana Jackson, 6 News.
The Texas Farm Bureau says feeder cattle prices are expected to stay elevated through the rest of 2026. A Central Texas Boy Scout is taking on a project that's much bigger than a badge. He's working to preserve a piece of local history. For his Eagle Scout project, he is leading a nearly $32,000 effort to restore 7 Star Cemetery in Temple. Formerly enslaved men and women were laid to rest here, but it's fallen into disrepair. The project includes clearing overgrown brush, improving access to the grounds, and restoring headstones, which has fallen into disrepair over the years. This weekend, Josh and his troop replaced 60 concrete pavers with new granite markers, each one representing a life, a story, and a legacy.
They did a ground penetrating survey in 1997 and found all of these grave sites for them. But over time, they've kind of sunk into the ground, they've faded, some of them have just crumbled completely in half. And so we're replacing them with something more permanent and meaningful.
Josh is hoping to raise all the money needed by the end of this month to complete the marker replacements. And those are your headlines from Central Texas.